Warning: this content may include explicit material. Viewers' discretion is advised. Welcome back to the Chop Shop. I'm here with Pepe and Louis.
Yes, sir.
Pepe and Louis, say something about yourselves.
You go first.
Louis right here. Thanks for having me, Dro. Known you for a while, your family, so I'm glad that
Appreciate
you
it,
invited
fam.
us over. So
Sir, yes, sir.
happy to be here.
Thank you.
Same here, man. I'm kind of curious to where we're gonna go with the conversation.
For real.
I'm glad to be here.
Trying not to get canceled on my first podcast, but
Yeah,
We'll find out.
let's do
find
it.
out.
Let's do it.
All right, Pepe. What got you into becoming a teacher?
Oh man. I think I gotta say luck a little bit because I think I was in the smart out of the three. I wasn't the smart, the school person. I wasn't into school too much. I mean, I liked it enough to go to school, but never like, oh man, that's what I'm gonna do. So I was actually trying to do like some other stuff like nursing just for the money.
Okay.
And then I was like, maybe I'll do computer science and I'll just, fooling around, bunch of fooling around, failing, my first semester in college. But then I don't know, just I was missing math too much because they're like after I did a little bit of an exam in Harvard College, they're like, you need to you don't need any math anymore, and I'm like, what? So it kind of felt weird. I also wanted to do something with soccer, something with the kids, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go into education, and then I just started. I started doing something and taking some classes in Harvard College. Yeah, so it was never like oh man, it wasn't like a life dream like I'm gonna be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I think some decisions that I took that I didn't really put a lot of weight behind. I'm like, I'm just gonna try this out and see.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, like you're taking education classes, and I'm like, all right, maybe. And then I was taking some math classes. I was taking some calculus and stuff like that. I'm like,
Calculus. Okay, I see you.
I kind of like kind of like this. So yeah, that's what got me into. And then also like wanting to be a coach, soccer coach.
Okay.
And I was like, man, if being a teacher was gonna let me be a coach, I wanted to do that.
All right.
Yeah.
See you, man.
Yeah. And so right now I'm not a soccer coach right now. I'm doing a little bit of esports. It's not
Okay. Esports.
yeah,
All right.
It's not my thing. I'm a little uncomfortable. Esports are like gaming.
Gaming like the Fortnite people,
Yeah.
Call of Duty, all that stuff, but more.
Um,
But high school, right? So it's more.
School level.
yeah, I mean they get competitive. I mean,
Really?
I feel out of my comfort zone. It's not something. I mean, I'm not a gamer myself. I stopped playing games when I had kids and stuff like that. Just because time and work. But the kids are into it, man. The PCs and they know a lot of that. So
I know Louis be playing.
Yeah, I play to this day. I mean, anything from Call of Duty, Fortnite. I just got into sim racing.
Really?
But he's like Sammy.
Uh-huh.
So he got his rig. So we went to sim racing over there in Algonquin, Sim Chicago. Huge shout out to them. They have like these $20,000 rigs, $15,000 rigs. So have you
Really?
ever? I don't know. There's that Netflix movie called Gran Turismo.
Okay.
It's kind of based off that. They had a pilot program where like they had sim racers, and these are like huge, expensive rigs. Where like now they're developed by the F1 and
Really?
like NASCAR. They use them because they're very realistic. Like
Okay.
they'll have them like that.
Like a
So,
simulation thing?
like it's a straight
But more-
simulation, but like super real. So they'll feel it. I mean, when we did it, they had the like because you have the torque and the G forces.
Okay.
They had it only to 30% because if you
Really?
had it like
crazy.
to 100, you could break your wrist. You could,
Ew.
similar to like what happens in those. So when you crash, like they tell you, let go of the steering wheel because that shit will just like, se jala like nasty.
Is it like one of those like YouTube videos where they're driving like those big trucks like the
Oh, kind of like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah,
That's-
like they have
that'd
this
be
up?
cool to do. Yeah, like but no, it's like it's a chair. So it's like a race car chair. It's on hydraulic lifts, so like it does, like once you're like hitting those forward, like it'll like shift you,
Okay.
and then the steering wheel, and like I've never been in like real NASCAR or whatever cars, but
Mm-hmm.
like they're tough even because they don't have ABS too. So
For
like
sure.
the brakes are hard, everything's hard. Like we were sweating after like the first 15 minutes in like the intro one, and we did that I think like class 3 or whatever where
Okay.
we drove
Mm-hmm.
um Porsche GT3s and stuff. So it's not like the full like F1.
Okay.
But after the 15 minutes of like the warm up, I was sweating, bro.
Holy
Like
shit.
had to take out my sweater because like it's hard. Like you're fucking trying to fight the car and shit. So
Was well worth it.
no, it was worth it. We're actually going on Saturday for one of my buddy's birthday. We're going back. We
Nice.
rented the whole place.
Really?
So we're going 10 of us deep just to race. But I got first place. So like I've always been a gamer. I've always enjoyed kind of, and it came kind of natural, you know.
Okay.
So I've always liked that. So yeah, I'm kind of, you know, if I could do it, you know, I don't think I have like the charisma to be in front of like a streaming thing,
For sure.
you
For
know.
sure.
But but yeah, I see it, and I'm like, man, I could be doing that. Like at least the gaming side, maybe not the whole, but it takes kind of two personalities, right? You have to
Got
be a
it.
good gamer, but you also have to be a good persona for people to
Mm-hmm.
want to
For
watch
sure.
you,
For sure.
you know. So
So, would you think you'll be able to do, or in the future you'll do streaming?
I mean,
Video
I want to
streaming?
try it. I want to try it. I feel like it's a lot easier now than it was like even pre-COVID,
Okay.
right? Like pre-COVID, you had to know Discord, you had to know like everything to like really get in there.
For sure.
Twitch, like even before Twitch, right? Whatever
Mm-hmm.
they were using. But now, like because of COVID, I think that kind of helped, like
Blow up
streamline and
more.
like make it blow and make it more accessible to like just regular
Okay.
people. Even Facebook has their gaming
Yes,
channels
they
now,
do. They
right?
do.
So like it just makes it a lot easier. So that'd be pretty cool. But I mean, right now, not just kind of focusing on work, you know, finance,
It's all
working
good.
from home. But I've been, you know, sometimes I'm like, man, I could be doing both. You know, who
You
knows?
could.
But
Anything's possible, bro. Especially nowadays.
yeah, no, I did, but
All right. Leading to my next question, Louis.
yes,
What made you? What made you become a, or what led you become a what's it called, accountant?
an accountant. Well, kind of, you know, it wasn't kind of by choice. I was kind of similar, you know, school came pretty easy to me in high school. Like I half-assed it. I always never did my homework. Like if you saw my report cards, like late homework assignments, late projects, but test-wise, kind of testing was always pretty good, you
Okay.
know. I think I got like a 32 in my ACT. Like so, like a lot of things came natural to me, like
Mhm.
school-wise, just kind of the way of thinking things, but. I was just never someone that like put a lot of effort. Like I liked having fun. I like living
For sure.
life, you
For sure.
know. I mean, I'd get home, go out, with my friends, with girls, whatever, you know. I just had
Mhm.
fun. Me gustaba el desmadre, but
¿Quién no?
yeah. But once I got to college, you know, I went to Harper because I did, you know, I got accepted to NIU, you know, a couple of schools I applied to, Purdue, stuff like that. But
All right.
I didn't get full rides or anything, and we weren't in a, you know, in a place where
Mhm.
my mom could say, "Hey, I can pay for everything," or "Hey, you know,
Definitely.
we take out
Definitely.
these loans and we'll figure it out later." Like I saw those packages and I was like, 20K a year, like, you know, how am I gonna find, because I didn't even qualify, my mom didn't even qualify for those loans to even pay for it, right? Like those
Sure.
federal loans. So I was like, you know what, let me go to Harper. I wanted to be an engineer. I had like Pepe, we had like fully maxed out our math credentials,
Mhm.
where I'm like, oh, I'm going straight into Calc 2. I'm going straight into you know, computer programming, all these I'm gonna be an engineer. I took my first coding class for C++ language.
Okay.
The worst fuck, like I'm a guy that doesn't do his homework. I'm a guy that doesn't read the book. You know, I don't
Same.
do none of that shit, you know? So I would go and then they'd be like, "Hey, write a code for this." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"What the fuck is this?" You know? Like I would try doing it myself. I would look at the book. Bro, I ended up failing that one class.
You miss a comma and you're done.
Yeah, you miss, like nothing
For
was
sure.
working, bro.
For
The
sure.
happiest thing of that whole semester, I wrote a freaking program for like an automatic car wash. Like you go
Okay.
in, you pick this, and you get this car wash. You know, it'll run this program, whatever. And I was like so fucking happy. But like that's the only thing I was able to accomplish in that class. I ended up getting like I was in that time frame where I could took it for no credit,
Mhm.
but it was like I took a 4 hour class, no credit. I was probably gonna fail that class, you know. And then I was like, "Yo, computer science is not for me. Engineering is not for me."
Definitely.
Um, let me try to find something that I can, use my math skills and stuff. So I ended up going into business, and still then I didn't even know what type of business. So I ended up actually doing, my major was in finance. I got my bachelor's in finance
Okay.
at UIC, but when I graduated, I somehow ended up doing accounting. Accounting was just like algebra to me,
Okay.
so it kind of came easy. You give and take, but it just kind of was a lot easier for me to get into that zone. And I like that investigation, like how come like this doesn't tie out this and this. So it was very like 1-to-1,
Yes.
kind of the way that I thought about math. So that should led me to accounting, and now I think I have a good group of friends
Yes.
where like Sammy, you were kind of opposites where it comes to business. Like he's an entrepreneur mind. I'm
He
not. I'm
sure
like
is.
I'm gonna climb the corporate ladder,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna work my ass here. So we think very differently, but I think we're both very successful. And
For
like
sure.
I have people around me that will do different things, but I was just able to kind of build relationships where I'm happy where I'm at, working from home, climbing the corporate ladder, getting, those promotions, you know,
Definitely.
kind of on that time frame where in my mind I'm like, okay, 2 years from now I'm gonna be here. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like I hit those and I'm like bad,
Yes,
like
sir.
the sky's the limit. The sky's the
Yes, yes.
limit. And that mentorship kind of helped me grow there too.
You
But
did a
like,
mentorship?
well, I'm a mentor, but like also finding those mentors within your
Mm-hmm.
company,
Yes.
I think that's a key in everywhere. Like even in entrepreneurship, right? Like finding someone that like you can learn shit from.
Yes.
Even this, right? Like just having these people, like someone can see this podcast and just kind of learn a little bit from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was thankful to find a good mentor when I joined my firm, that he like took me on his wing, and I've just been like
That's
hopping
good.
around with him. He's like, hey, I trust you. I need help here. Let me hire you as a promotional thing
Okay.
here. Boom, boom. Or hey, there's an opening there. It'll be a promotion,
For sure. For
and it's
sure.
like boom, like. But it's like those relationships allowed me to like quickly step up.
Yes, sir. What hope is there for the youth now that we went through it growing up? Now we all have kids now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that question.
Honestly, I think that a lot of people think they're like, or like, because it's almost like a cycle. Everybody's like, oh man, I don't know what they're gonna do because like they're lazy or they're this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I think it's the opposite, man. I think that they're just doing it differently. Kind of
Okay.
like the song that "Do Bailabas Eras Pachuco," kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
they do things differently, and I think sometimes we like we're I sometimes I as a teacher sometimes I judge them too much. Like, hey, they're not working hard, no le echan ganas,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like at times it's like, why would they? If like what I'm teaching them is like boring as hell. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would they echarle ganas for that? Like, like it doesn't
Exactly.
make sense. Like for me, like sometimes it's like I get into these conversations with my colleagues, and it's like, oh, hey, they don't remember anything. They don't remember the quadratic formula, and I'm like, why the fuck would they have to remember the quadratic formula? It's not like they're crossing the street. Like, hey, wait, before I can cross the street, I gotta make sure that I find apply the quadratic formula here to find the solutions. Like nobody cares. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's like a lot of the stuff that we do that we think that is important or that should be important to them is really not.
Okay.
Those things are only important when like you really need to do them
Yeah.
and like when you really
Yeah,
need
you're in
something.
there.
Like trust me, if we put them out there and they have to like survive,
Mm-hmm.
they will survive. Or maybe like they were not gonna go grab a shovel, but they're gonna grab like a computer and like do something. Like
Okay.
I think it's, if anything else, I think that is we worry so much of them not making it that we almost like hold them back.
Okay.
Like we just gotta let them. I think it's a
From go with the
Like
flow.
you're
Yeah.
unprepared, like we're telling them they're unprepared, but you're not letting them let
Yeah.
it grow, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
you're not prepared for this. But it's like, well, give me a shot then.
Yeah.
Like, let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay.
my kids are young right now, 5 and 7. But like, I wish when I get to the point where like people remind me that
Like
like
preteen or something like that.
yeah,
Okay.
and even like like or when when they get older, like the hardest thing, I think, in my opinion, as a parent that I see is like letting them go,
Okay.
letting them make those mistakes, letting them fuck it up. I mean, they have to fuck it up when they're young, so then they can
see like why
Yeah.
is
And then kind of be that support that, hey, you know what, let me pick you up, or hey, you know, let me brush you off.
instead of
Let's
like
keep
doing things
going.
for them, I
Yeah, so,
guess.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, and I think, I mean, you know, maybe me going more to like a societal view rather than kind of more personal, you know, job.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do like I mentor kids. Like I'm a mentor for EB211, which is, you know, EB211 beyond EB211 or something. So basically, anyone that graduates from that district goes to
Okay.
college. They're first time college students. You know, so like I get a student that goes to a university, and then I'm with them for the whole 4 years, and talking to them. But I think like a lot of things have changed even within these, you know, even me being 30 years old, I see these 18-year-old kids going to school. Like things are
Mm-hmm.
very different, right? Like
Okay.
even when I went to school, you know, being there in the rooms every single day, you know, all these things are like, oh, I'm having a straight up virtual class, or you know, my whole semester is virtual, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, things are different. Things aren't as, you know, social as they used to be, and I think learning those social aspects also matters. I think, you
Mm-hmm.
know, maybe
Yeah.
people are a little bit more awkward
Yeah.
Okay.
than they used to be, but it's like they're not lazier, they're not crazier, they're not. It's just they're different because of the circumstances. Those kids were locked up for 2 years.
Now,
Yeah.
um, doing the virtual things and things like that. Now, you think before the pandemic, every like things were going different until it shifted because of the pandemic.
I think it accelerated things. I mean, I think we were moving that direction for a long time.
Okay.
Like even myself, I mean, I was working hybrid before COVID. I was
Okay.
working 3 days at home, 2 days in the office. I
Mm.
would go to the office Tuesdays and Thursdays. But then COVID went straight virtual, and they had to adapt. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, my role was already adapted to that. Like I
Okay.
could be like, oh, I didn't go to Tuesday, Thursday. Like I'm good. But there's a lot of industries that hadn't even thought about it. You know, even industries to this day that are like, no, I want you back in the office. I need to see you. You know, and like
Yeah.
and I think it's like good and bad because we've pushed this forward where now we could say, you know, maybe kids that in the future, kids that don't have access to public schools or good public schools can
Okay.
have a good public education by doing virtual learning. But then there's still like, you know, trade-offs, you know, that you don't have that social, you don't have that networking, you don't have a lot of that stuff that you know,
Hands on.
hands-on approach that you do get. You know, maybe a teacher can't catch something that they might see in a classroom, you know, to
Mm-hmm.
help you out. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, I see why you're struggling. But at the same time, there's benefits to it, right? There's benefits to, you know, hey, just because you have a common cold, you can still take the
Work or
class
do
and
whatever.
work and
Yeah.
not, and you know, not fall back. You got mono, you can't come to school for a week. You still can have, you know, a little bit better
Remotely.
education,
Okay.
you know, where, you know, you're still in class. I can broadcast my class. You'll
Mm-hmm.
stay on there, ask questions, you know, I'll answer them, you know, hey, good question, you know, boom. But I just think things are changing and we compare like apples to oranges. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
our parents' education was not the same as our education.
For
And they'll
sure.
compare like, oh, you know, they don't know shit and this and that. But it's like when you were in school, half of the technology didn't exist that we have
Exactly.
now. You
Yep.
know, like you didn't even know a computer. We don't need no calculators because you guys couldn't afford a calculator. That shit was
That too.
$1,000. You know,
For sure.
now a T in Texas Instruments $80. You know,
Bro,
everyone has it. You know, I
no,
mean, they're
bro,
still
it's
expensive.
$20, bro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I
yeah,
saw
some
it
of
too.
them. Yeah, some
Bro,
of
they have
them.
them for $20 now.
And it's like, well, for you, that was a computer back in the day. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So it's like, yeah, but and that's why, you know, I think a lot of people try to compare apples and oranges, this and that, but it's like I'm an accountant. I never like do not have a computer or a
Calculator.
calculator in front of me. I have an Excel worksheet. I do a formula. It brings me thousands of records in an instant.
For
I
sure.
don't need to know what, you know, 9 squared, you know, to the
Mhm.
square root of, well, that would still be 9, but like, you know,
Mhm.
like these complex things, like, oh, you can't, don't use a calculator, figure it out. It's like, well, I just plug in a formula in my Excel sheet and it does it and repeats it for me 100,000 times that I needed to do it. And I never wanting to actually work
Do
out a
it.
problem, you know, but I just know that how to get to it. So I think, you know, just things are changing, and now with AI changing, like things are going to be different for our kids, right? Like
Mhm.
even now, I know, you know, cutting things away, but like I know kids that are using AI tools to do a lot of their homework, do a lot
Bro,
of their
Yes.
yes.
problems, do a lot of their everything. That like, is that really bad that they're using a technology that in the future they'll probably, you know, be like encouraged to use? I have AI in my industry to tell us use it. Try to
Mhm.
use it. Try to see what benefits you can get out of it. If it makes your life
You're doing it
easier,
more like to test it
yeah,
out,
test it
or
out. But like,
okay.
hopefully we can put it in, and it does it automatically. So it's like almost, I think, we grew up on this phrase, work smarter, not harder. But when we're in school, it almost like the old class is like, no, you're not working hard enough.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
like AI, especially AI, is like saying like you about to like when cars came along and it's like no you gotta walk because that car you can't use it, you can't
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like you gotta like even when it's a teacher someone's like, oh no, hey, they're gonna use ChatGPT to like find the answer. Well, I'm like, well then
Mhm.
good then like then our the exercises or the problems that we're giving them, they're not
Hmm.
hard enough. Not that they're hard enough, but like they're not juicy
They're
enough.
not. Yeah, they're making them think enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I think it's critical thinking what we're trying to teach our kids,
Yeah.
right?
For
Because
sure.
no problem is black and white. No problem,
Nope.
especially as you get older, it's not gonna be 2 plus 2,
Definitely.
right? Like once you get older, you're not gonna be like, oh, how do you add these two? No, it's like, damn, I gotta pay this mortgage, but I gotta pay my car note, and I gotta, figure this out. So like you're adding
Definitely.
different exponents, right? Where you have
Well,
different,
not even the
like,
calculations, but just making those
yeah,
decisions
there's
of like
decisions of how do I make that shit work?
what matters the most, like
Yeah.
what's more important to me.
Yeah, what's more important to you, and how do you make it work? Because yeah, things change, and I think the critical thinking aspect is what matters. It's like making you
Mhm.
think, how do I solve this problem, right? And I think that's what school is more supposed to be about, like how to problem solve
Yes.
and how to get, like, and if it's, hey, ChatGPT can fix all of this and solve these, perfect,
Mhm.
right? So it's like work smarter rather than someone
But I think,
struggling hard.
but I can tell you right now, as a teacher, I don't think the school is right there. Is there? I think school is still educating or trying to educate,
The old school way.
like the old school way of like
And
we're trying to
curriculum and
build robots that could follow
yeah,
directions and can repeat processes and
And instead
like
of like expanding their mind and their
yeah,
creativity or whatever.
exactly.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they're like it's like
Well,
we're
it's more
trying
to
to
follow direction, right?
yeah,
Follow directions.
but
Yeah.
and it's trying to like we're trying to work around like trying to work against this machine that is like going like this because people don't want it to change and you're like trying to like, hey, those things don't matter anymore, like those freaking
Yeah,
tasks don't matter, like no, but we still got to take them because people are making money from them,
yeah.
and we're gonna make this class an AP because guess what, people are making money from it,
Yeah.
and it's just like you don't want to teach to the task, but like, oh, but the only way that if a kid is doing well if they do well on the AP test,
Yeah.
that's money right
Well,
there.
as okay, so you're a teacher, right?
Mhm.
So as a teacher, I did I was a instructor at one point, right? Barber instructor, and
Yeah.
I had to take tests and this and that. So on actually chapter 1 of the book, it said that teaching is about it has different ways of teaching,
Mhm.
and for students different ways of learning. Now, since there's different ways of teaching, different ways of learning, don't you think the school should adapt to that as well? Since that's one of the things that they teach you what to do as a teacher and instructor.
No, I mean I agree 100%. I think that I think as a teacher you try to embed like different ways of like critical thinking and just like problem based learning and trying to like do the whole 9 yards. But then at the end of the day, you have to give them a certain grade and you have to give them and they have to take a certain task every year at the end of the year. And it's like you're trying to do the cool things around it, but it's always around a system that is already there,
Okay.
Yeah.
and you can't like um
Yeah, because still you have to quantify where they are compared to their peers.
yeah,
For sure,
but
for sure.
and it's not even about that because like you're not like I mean I guess like state collects data, but like it's more like
The board
the
of
board
education.
because they're like whoever's selling the books, whoever's coming up with the test, those people are making the money
Got it.
because every single student has to pay for a test,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to go away from that because then those book companies, those people that are making the money are not making the money anymore.
Go ahead.
Kind of just going back, yeah. It was like an article from the New York Times. It just kind of said how she was like the main go-to educator from
Yeah, yeah.
there. So they were selling her books were selling to like all of America on
Got
how
it.
to teach like reading.
Okay.
But then they found out like recently, like, oh, that was actually incorrect. Like, and so like everything that every teacher, English teacher, was being taught to teach her kids was like, oh, not the best, you know. And so now
Got
it's
it.
like changing, and so she's changing her books because she doesn't want to lose selling those books. Because every year a new book comes out, a new
Mhm.
Yeah, of
edition, a
course,
new
you gotta
edition,
buy
a
the
new
new
edition. So
edition.
you got to buy the new edition each year.
Mm-hmm.
So a new edition comes out, but now she's like adding phonics, but it's like you've been teaching this for 20 years being wrong, but everyone thought that you were the go-to person. So you
Got
were
it.
making millions and millions of dollars each year selling your curriculum to districts all over the country. And it was like something that was making kids worse at readers, you know?
That's insane.
So it's
For
like,
20
and
years.
that's, you know, money makes money. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like if you're not checking it, you know, if
Mm-hmm.
no one's checking you, like, are you really the best for the education system?
That's true. As a parent, what has been your experience, and if you had a chance to change it, would you?
Oh man, I'll go.
Go
I'll
for it.
take
Go
that. Oh man, I think that like something about me, like my mom was a single mom for quite a long time. Uh, well, you so like the last time I saw my dad was when I was what, maybe
Nine.
maybe 9, maybe something like that. So for the longest, I didn't want to have kids because I felt like it was in the genes that I was gonna become him,
Okay.
and
You had the
and
dog in you.
yeah. So like I was having fun and
Oh, my
like just
dog's
not
here.
like I didn't want to get serious. I was like but the one thing that I follow, my mom's rule was like never lie to a girl. So like I was busy with school and like, hey, you want to hang out, we can have some fun or whatever. But it was never like uh you're not my bae, you're not we're
Mm-hmm.
just I'm going to school, busy. If you want to have some fun, let's do it.
Okay.
But then at the same time, like as I got older, I got serious, and obviously I got my kids now, and but like that right, I mean that changed me. Like I think that learning the fact that like it was easy not to become my dad because what all you had to be was to be there.
Be present.
Yeah, be
Mm-hmm.
present, be there for them, and man, I mess up. I messed up today, because of my, sometimes I lose my temper, and I'm like, man, the way that I talk to my girls, and I'm like, man, I messed it up, as much as I apologize before they go to sleep, but I'm just hoping that I get another try the next day tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
because but for me that changed me. I mean, there's things that scare me about it. Like there's things that like sometimes I'm not saying we're living like a crazy life or whatever, like we're for sure middle class, but at the same time, like they're getting more stuff that I never had when I was a
Yes.
kid, and that crap scares me because I mean, seeing the amount of the amount of shoes and amount of clothes that they have, not because they buy them, but like just family comes around and like,
Of
oh,
course.
you should have this, you should have that, but and then la abuelita, it's like
Mm-hmm.
giving them this, giving them that, and they got a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, man, one of the reasons why I had so much hunger to go and get was because I didn't have it.
Yes,
So
sir.
how do I keep that?
And keep them humble
Yeah,
and keep
keep
them
my kids
grounded.
wanting,
Yeah, you
Mhm.
gotta keep them grounded
Yeah.
too. But it's like, yeah,
But
no,
then,
yeah,
and at the same time, I don't want to take it away from
yeah,
them. But
definitely.
it's like,
Definitely.
how do we
Because
still?
you grew up fighting
Yeah.
for it. Because like I want to be able to provide what wasn't provided to me.
Yeah.
But then you're
Definitely.
saying that, and it's kind of like a balancing act of how do I keep them grounded, but how do I give them things that I didn't have growing up. But like, yeah, because I mean, I haven't really thought about that because I have a little one, and we have a lot, we have a lot more than we did growing up, and even I think to me, like just being there, right, working from home,
Yep.
like I pick up my daughter midday, I drop her off in the morning, she's with grandma, I pick her up midday, and I'm with her, mom's with her, we're both working from
Yeah,
home, so like me growing up, I grew up kind of toxic where like I wouldn't see my mom
Yeah, we don't see our mom for like
for
days.
days because she would work 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Omar, my older brother, was taking care of me. If not, I'd be home alone. Like I was taught how to, make my own little scrambled egg. When I
Mhm.
was like 5, 6
Bro,
years old. Quemando la
definitely.
casa
I,
here
I
and
remember. I
there.
remember like a $20 bill in the table, like
Yeah.
because it would be like 3 days go by. My mom would leave us a $20 thing,
Mhm.
to go and buy
Mhm.
something in the store to eat.
Yeah,
You know.
to eat,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and bro, I remember even now my wife like laughs at me because because I'll talk to her about like your ghetto meals or whatever, and I'm like, bro, I miss that.
Bro,
Like,
yes.
like
Oh my
we
God.
would buy like shredded
Relatable.
cheese and like put it in a bowl, put it in a microwave,
Or tacos de
like,
mayonesa,
bro,
bro.
tacos de mayonesa, bro, queso,
The
like queso
chicharrón,
fundido or
güey.
whatever.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
But
whatever.
like, we just put it in the microwave, let
Yeah.
that melt, and
Yeah.
calentazo tortillas.
Bro.
And
Pinches
Valentina, bro.
Valentina, güey.
O si
Bro,
no,
and
agarra nachos y ponle queso de cualquiera, güey.
bro, and I'll
Or
tell my
totopos,
girl,
¿no?
like,
¿Cómo se llaman?
I'm
Ajá.
craving that shit. I'm like, I'm craving this shit right now, and she's like, you're fucking crazy, like,
Bro.
like, how are you
There's,
craving
there's
this? I'm
something
like,
I tell my girl all the time. Like, you haven't lived
yeah,
until
you
you
haven't
try.
lived. Like, those were the meals.
Mhm.
Like,
Those
we
were
made
the
like
meals.
20 tacos of like mayonesa.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
roll them up and have them all
roll,
together.
like little
Bro,
flautas de
yes.
mayonesa.
Mayonesa, yeah,
Hell
bro.
yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Tacos de
Like
mayonesa.
like we make a little tower because we
Yeah.
and I fucking munching out
Yeah.
playing
Hell
FIFA,
yeah, bro.
like that
Hell
was
yeah.
life, and
That was life right there.
and
back
that's the
then.
thing where like growing up, that's how we grew up, and that's what all we knew. I mean, thankfully there was always food on the table. I
There
mean, there was
was.
always something to eat, but
Aunque sea una olla de
unos
frijoles, pero había
frijoles,
algo, you know?
unos
Yeah.
huevos con frijoles que lo hizo
Definitely.
my mom before she went to work, just left it there. Hey, I made huevos con
Ay, ay,
frijoles,
yeah.
and like I saw no shit, vinagre, whatever.
Sírvete, ponlo en el microondas
Bro,
o
that shit
algo,
was
you
a
know?
mess,
Yeah.
make a sandwich in the morning. That was breakfast. But it's like growing up, and I'm like, I haven't really thought about it, but I'm like, that's difference where like that time, even the time that we can give our kids compared to
Yeah.
like growing up. I
I
think
that's
something-
luxury right there.
Yeah, like that's
is.
luxury. Like there's a lot of luxury where I'm like, bro, like when I was in middle school, I was a little toxic to my mom because I'm like, I don't know you, like you were never here for me.
It'd be like
Once
that.
it kind of
yeah.
slowed down for her, where she was like
And
around a
she'd
little
be
bit more.
Yep.
But I'd be like, who are you? Like, you didn't
Mhm.
raise me. Like, why are you trying to tell me what to do now? Like, like I'm 14 years old.
Yeah.
You weren't here when I needed you, this and that. Kind of these toxic fights. But it's like, bro, she was out here working 3
Yeah.
jobs.
But that's the thing. We didn't know.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't
We
really,
didn't
like,
know until
realize
we're
that shit.
older that
Yeah.
we realized
Yeah.
like what's what,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And then we're so grateful about it. And
Yeah.
then
But it's like
Crazy.
too late. You're already burning bridges.
Exactly, right?
You're probably keeping her up at night crying and shit. 'cause,
For her, it was very important to
Yeah.
get us out of certain neighborhoods.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
so, like she,
Yeah.
she bought her townhome, but like she was
Grinding.
grind. I mean, to pay for a townhome on her own, at back.
Back in the
She
day.
had
Especially
had
back
3
in the day.
jobs, yeah,
Yeah.
3 jobs, going
Mhm.
crazy. I mean, right now you're like, oh, you should buy a house that is like 20% of your take home, whatever. She would probably bought a house that was probably 60%, if not 80% of her take home, just to be there. Just to be
there.
have us there in whatever.
Yeah.
was
And we didn't have
considered
like,
safer,
and we had no WIC, we had no, additional help
definitely.
either. So it's
Mhm.
like she did all that.
And it was
by
hard,
herself.
especially with language barrier.
Yeah, language
Mhm.
barrier, and like props to my mom. But growing up, you'd be a little toxic. But but like like I even think about, I'm like, yo, like I see my daughter every single day, and like I'm with her like 80% of the day. Like we're here, and even still, she loves grandma more than she loves me. But like,
It'd be like that.
yeah, but like
Like, it
it's
just took me back to a moment. I remember when like it was within the first year that she brought us here from Mexico, and then she was working, and then I finally saw her like a Saturday, and I'm like, you just brought us here so that we could just be encerrados, just in the house doing nothing. I'm like, just send us back, like just
Yeah.
and I, that takes me back, and it's like, man, that's
no, because I remember
such
that
a
fight.
bullshit of my part,
Mhm.
like.
No,
as
because
a
I
kid.
remember these fights like when I was in middle school, and like she would like try to like, cause at that time like I'd be sneaking out, I'd be
Oh,
go see
me
girls,
too, bro.
13
Trust
years
me.
old, sneaking out. Like I had my phone too. Like at 13, I had a phone. I don't know if you
Must
were
be
paying for it.
nice, bro.
Someone,
I ain't have
No,
shit.
Omar was paying.
Someone-
That's how I was like
Yeah,
15,
someone-
16, bro.
Yeah, but like they were paying for but I wouldn't pick up to my mom, and she'd be like, "¿Por qué estamos pagando el teléfono? You're my house, my roof, my rules." And then I'd be like, who are you? Like, because Omar, like at that time, I saw Omar as like my
Yes,
dad,
yes.
like because he is like 9 years older than me.
Mhm.
But I was always with him, como su chicle, like just everywhere he went, I was like stuck to him. But so like whenever she would try to yell at me at that age, I'd be like, who are you? Like to like tell me what
This
to
is my
do.
dad right here.
Like if he's not yelling at me, well, why are you yelling at me?
Mhm.
And it was like very toxic. Like, and I think about that, and I'm like, man, I scarred my mom. I bet, like I'm sure, like we had like I'm fucked up for making her feel probably shitty those days. But then like I think kind of the difference now. It's like my mom's always with her grandkids. My mom's giving a
Yeah.
ton to her
Mhm.
grandkids, and and like it's like, oh wow, and I think that's what she does too, because she's compensating for maybe something she couldn't do with us.
Exactly.
But then it's like you said, how do I keep them grounded?
Yeah.
To say, hey, you don't need all that, or don't get this to your head. Like,
Mhm.
you're not. You still have to work for your things in the future.
My girls are little sometimes, like, but there's, they'll still like trip up a little bit and say like, oh, well, this is my house, and I'm like, no, hey, baby, hey, girl, hold on, this is my house and your mom's house.
Mhm.
You all live here with us, but
Mhm.
this is not your house.
Yeah.
We pay for it. So soon enough, you'll buy your own house, but like this is our house.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it to be like an asshole. Maybe I am a little bit an asshole, but like they have to know like
That's
this is
another
not
difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
especially as they grow up, like this is my money, not your money.
Yeah.
Like like if you're asking for money, like, and that's something like I talk to my wife about, like, hey, we got to keep them grounded, like do chores, work for it, like hopefully, hopefully think, everything goes well still, but. You're at the point where you can provide, but I don't just want to be handing out like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a car, oh, here's
Definitely.
here's your education, here's
Mhm.
whatever. Like, no, you're still gonna work for it. Like, I'm gonna tell you I'm broke. Like, we could be. I could hit the lotto tomorrow, but I'm gonna make it seem like I'm broke and we're broke and you're broke. Like, you got no money. Work for
I
that shit.
I don't go that far as to tell them that I'm like, but I tell them, hey, I tell my girls, hey, like we went to the zoo yesterday.
Okay.
You think it's okay for us to go and we went and we ate out yesterday. Should we go and eat it out again today? Like, does this, like, because we still need money to pay for other things, and then
Mhm.
he at least gets them thinking about
Like, okay, we got bills. What's bills? Oh,
yeah,
why?
like
Why is my
seven
dad
five,
talking
like
about
they're still
bills?
not
Yeah.
thinking about like how much, but it's like, hey, and then they'll see the bill at Costco and like, oh, Daddy, do we have all that money to pay? Because Costco, like, no
Oh,
matter, you
yeah,
just go in there,
definitely.
that thing is like,
Bro, you get 5 things.
$200.
I got
Mhm.
5 things. It was like
Definitely.
175. I was like, what did I buy?
But it's like, but at least get them
For
thinking,
sure.
because I think sometimes too, as Mexican families too, like we kind of like don't like to talk about money sometimes. So like we don't talk a lot about a lot of things. And I
Mhm.
think like for me, it's like let's just at least have the conversation of like, hey,
At least.
I think growing up, I ever considered ourselves poor, but maybe not. We didn't have everything. And then definitely compared to other people, you'd compare like to your friends and stuff. Even
Mhm.
friends that had like 2 parents and stuff. I think
it.
kids know how to point that shit
Yeah,
out
yeah.
real quick. Like, you don't have a dad, like, oh, like
No.
all frosted flakes, but I think being present, like he mentioned, like Pepe mentioned earlier, like just being present with your kids is important. That's, I think, what I want to be like. I want to be able to say like, oh, I'm there. Like,
Mhm.
you don't have to look for me, or like, if you need me, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but it's still like it's early for me. I still don't know exactly how she's gonna be.
For
I
sure.
have I have a baby on the way, but I still have my daughter right now, and it's like you never know like how that relationship is gonna grow, and like I
Mhm.
just hope it's fruitful and we love each other, and she's a daddy. Like, to me, I'm like, I hope she's a daddy's girl, but then at the
Definitely.
same time, it's like I hope that she can come to me with issues. Like, I was blessed because I had my brothers. Like,
Yes.
I had girl issues, I had this issues. I was messing with gangs or whatever. Like, thinking about this. They brought me out. They
Mhm.
grounded me there. But I mean, I'm just hoping that for my daughter, it's a little bit easier, but with still keeping her grounded and still being no. You have to work for your stuff. You
Mhm.
can't just expect everything to be good all the time, because
For
it's not
sure.
going to be. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what I'm scared about. I don't know if I do anything different just yet. Um, but I think like I'm learning a lot. I think I'm probably messing up a lot too. But
Everyone.
That way you
yeah,
learn. Okay.
yeah. But I'm like, so. But yeah, I mean, now expecting a second child, you're kind of not as nervous. You're not as worried about everything. I think
Mhm.
especially with your first kid, you're freaking out about everything. Um, So like kind of I'm like here, like I'm less nervous, I'm more chill, but you're still, you still know there could be complications, there could be things, life is crazy, society, people are crazy, so it's like, it's not, even though you can plan for everything, you still,
Mhm.
things can happen. So,
Definitely.
kind of prepare for the worst, but also try to provide good, good outcomes for your kids.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think I'll do anything different, but I think, I mean, the only thing that I do catch myself sometimes, and I'm like, damn, like sometimes, like even if she's there playing, like I'll be on my phone, and then
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
she'll be like, up, up, or like she'll do something
Trying to
to
get
try to
your
get my
attention.
attention,
Yeah.
and I'm like, fuck, I'm on my phone too much,
Mm-hmm.
like I want to be more present there. It's a long day, you're done working, you're like, oh, I'm just trying to scroll through Facebook, IG, whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, oh shit, like, hi, like, like
Mm-hmm.
I need to be here. Or sometimes, I'll see my wife, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go wash dishes, do something, and then I'm like, bro, put your phone down, But then I'm like, I know I'm doing the exact same thing,
Yeah.
but it's like it's so hard because we grew up with like our phone in our hands 24/7.
Yeah.
That now we're parents. Like to me, it's easy for me to put my phone down and not check it,
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm on my phone, sometimes it's hard to like put me back in focus. Like,
Okay.
hey, you're missing the now,
Yeah.
And I think that's where I try to work on sometimes because it's easy, like yeah, she'll be having fun, so like, oh, she's busy doing whatever she's doing,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll pick up my phone, but then you kind of get lost in that like
Yeah.
infinity scroll,
So yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
just scrolling through, and then all of a sudden like it hits you and she's like,
Yo.
hello, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Like,
you're
hey, I'm here.
like, hey, I'm here, or like, I need something, or put attention to me, and I'm like, oh shoot, like my bad, so that kind of thing where I do want to kind of continue to grow too as a dad, and maybe say, what, I'm gonna make sure I'll put my phone on charge or something,
Mm-hmm.
just not even thinking about it and just be present here. And even though I'm watching TV, you're playing with your toys, you're doing whatever, I'm still like an earshot away rather than when you're on your phone, you're kind of like lost
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
that.
Like tunnel
So
vision in
yeah,
a
it's like you
sense.
get that tunnel vision for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of my biggest fault right now that I see, and I'm like, I get mad at my wife or get mad at myself sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck, like,
I remember like also like allowing myself to play with them
mm-hmm.
because sometimes like we forget how to play, and then they're like playing and just especially when they started like trying to like create little games with their toys and stuff
Yeah.
like that, like just play with them, getting going to the just laying down on the floor and just like being a kid again and like just having fun a little bit like that too. It's just like it's crazy because I would do the same thing. Grab your phone because you're just kind of looking over like, oh, are they doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
But then like, man, I'm like, I don't need to be in this freaking phone. I just go play with them and
Yeah.
just get away from everything else.
Yeah.
And those
Yeah,
are good
and
times too.
yeah, no, and they're good times. I mean, sometimes what I'll do, like I'll sit on the floor, so I'm like rather than being kind of on top, and
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
can you
down
kind
in the
I'm
level.
down a little, so if she needs to see me or she'll like
Yeah.
run at me and like touch me, and I'm like, okay, like she'll ground me, like she'll
Mm-hmm.
be grounding me because I'm like lost. So even though my phone, she'll like see me, she'll like go like this, or she'll like run towards me, hug me, and so I think that like helps me too. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're in a society where we've gotten used to the phone.
Yes.
That like, yeah, you like you said, you get tunnel vision, and I think it's a society trying to get us out of that and like be more present for everything.
For sure.
It's a little harder, but it's something that like you have to work at. It's not
Yes.
easy. You have to. It's like something you have to work on, just like anything else. The gym, anything. You have to work at it, and yeah, I mean, I sit down with her and yeah, we'll play here and there, but sometimes I do catch myself and I'm like, oh fuck. Like,
On the
Definitely.
phone.
yeah, I'm on the phone, like, damn, put it down, like,
Mm-hmm.
so like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't, because when I don't charge it and I have to go put it on the charger because I'm like at 3%, that's like the time that I'm like
More active
more
with.
active and spending more time with her, and just even though because she's a year and a half, so she still doesn't really make up games or anything. She's just running around, picking up things, hugging things,
Exploring.
exploring,
Mhm.
taking like more risks,
Okay.
where I can be there and like, yeah, just help her, like she's climbing things. I'm like, oh, be careful, but like you're there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so far so good. But yeah, more to come. I mean, I'm sure if you ask me the same question 6 months from now, I'll be like, oh, here are my new faults.
There you go.
Yeah.
Next question. What scares you as being a parent?
Oh man. Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I
Yeah.
think that I think getting stuff wrong. I think that's I think it's so. I feel like every kid is some traumatized in some way or another. Like we as parents traumatize
Mhm.
them in a certain way or condition them in a certain way. So like I'm just hoping that like Because I know I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna fuck up no matter what. But like, I hope that like I do enough of a good job to like compensate in other places where
Okay.
like they're still okay. I think that I think my biggest fear is that my girls won't talk to me. You know,
Okay.
like um, they. My biggest fear is that my girls won't talk to me when like there's a problem with a boy or when there's a. Um, I'm scared of like them going to middle school. You know, because girls are mean. Girls are
Mm-hmm.
vicious.
Hmm.
They're mean to each other. They don't. You
Petty
know.
for sure,
Yeah. So
especially like high school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my girls are they got a lot of they're very emotional. They got a lot of feelings.
Definitely.
They're and I just obviously that fear of like making sure that like they're okay,
Mm-hmm.
and just for me to be to be able to notice too. And I know it's gonna go a little dark, but like I was hearing like some reports that like most of the parents, like especially when kids like like commit suicides and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
like parents don't even like
Yeah, they don't even
they
know.
have
They're not even.
no clue, or like when like
Like they don't catch it
Yeah,
yeah,
there
ahead
were
of
no
time
catch
or
it in
signs.
time,
whatever. Okay.
or like
Yeah.
when they even for kids to like become like shooters in schools, like no signs of like they didn't see it, like the people the kids
Yeah.
from Colorado, from the very first one, like the
Columbine.
Columbine.
yeah,
You know.
Columbine, like parents are like we had no idea.
Yeah, we
and
didn't
and
even know that
and,
was a
and
thing.
like and I just that those blind spots I think is one of the things that scares me the most. Like not
Yeah.
being able to see.
Detect or
Yeah,
Yeah.
like not that
sense.
hopefully my girls are
No,
not.
for sure. But
Hopefully but anything like that, like either harm to
Self
others or
harming.
self harm, or it's just
Mhm.
some it's just like or somebody harming them that I don't know about.
or you're to the point where
Yeah.
they're not comfortable enough
Mm,
to be open to us
yeah.
Yeah.
as
Uh,
as a parent.
yeah,
No, definitely.
and I go
Okay.
back to this too. Like I tell you, like, and I'm being honest. Like I feel like I fucked up today because I lost my temper a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of reflect about it. It's like, how are they gonna talk to me when they know that I react that way? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How are they gonna be willing to come
Open up.
yeah,
And
open up
open
to
up.
me and
Yep.
hey, dad, this is going on, when like I've shown them and I've conditioned them to feel that like they should be scared of me because I'm gonna get mad at them and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
yell at them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like
And
like those expectations
yeah.
are like not matching up in my part
Yes.
because I'm saying I want you to talk to me, I want you to tell me everything, but then
But then
when
they
things
tell you
happen,
something, and then you're like
like I'm gonna
screaming, losing your
So
head.
it's like like I think we do a lot of like it's it was he was that friend, he was this
Mhm.
person, he was the
Quick to
other
point a
friend.
finger.
Yeah, but
Okay.
like how much are we pointing
Fingers towards
to
us.
ourselves?
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
like that, like for me, like I think that's the most important thing as a parent. Like you gotta if your kids do something and you're surprised, then I don't know, like you missed something because you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be surprised about like what
Yeah.
who your kids are, who your kids are becoming,
Yeah.
and I hope I stay awake enough to be able to see like who my kids are
For
and what
sure.
they're doing, and
Okay.
hopefully build that relationship so that they can still come at to me, and I'm their first like obviously mom, and but like one of the first persons to be like, hey dad, there's something really good going on in my life,
Mm-hmm.
or there's something really bad going in
Like
my
they're excited to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
You know.
exactly.
No, I mean we don't condition our daughters, to be alphas or to,
Yeah.
be considered like the top dog, the top shit, And
Mhm.
it's it's my society, whatever, maybe our Hispanic culture, whatever. But like to me, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna condition my girl to like, I'd
Empowerment.
rather be her feel like the shit
Mhm.
and like, who the fuck are you to tell me that I'm not, than be like, no, you gotta be self conscious. You gotta be more ladylike. You gotta be more,
Yeah.
like, in my way, like, I'd rather her be like full of herself in a way than her feel like I need to be beneath you because I'm not an alpha.
Mhm.
And I kind of see those things where I'm like, I'm not saying that I didn't struggle like mentally or whatever in high school. We all have doubts. We all,
Mhm.
have self conscious. We're self conscious about things. But like, I think in as guys and like in a locker room and stuff, shit, you fuck around with people. Like, oh, I might be the shortest guy here, but I'm fucking sexier than your ugly ass. Like,
Mhm.
so you're like nos llevamos más like
Pesados.
más pesados, and we don't give a fuck about what you
No.
think.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you're talking about this, and I feel like in girls we almost like we try to diminish them, and girls within girls, like, oh, did you see her nails? Oh, did you see, but like, I want to be able to, like, fuck them nails, you're the shit, like,
Mm-hmm.
you're this, you're that, and like, not in a toxic way, but just kind of like what I'm doing,
Confidence.
your confidence. I build your confidence up, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we do that enough for girls. I mean, I didn't grow up around
Like more
girls.
like self-esteem or
Yeah,
whatever.
like
Yeah.
have like a strong self esteem, and I'm gonna be saying, baby, you're beautiful, like, oh, you're the shit,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're playing sports, whatever, like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, like, like, you got it, girl, you're good as fuck, you're good at this, pointing
Yeah.
out their good aspects, and I
Okay.
think that's when we don't cheer them enough. Because, like, oh, you're a girl, like, oh, this and that, like, whatever you're doing right, you should be doing right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're getting out of your bubble, or if you're not good enough because you're not as good as a boy, like, but it's like, nah, you're good as fuck. Look at this, look what you're doing, like, kind of cheering them on. And I feel like we cheer our
Built
boys
up their
on.
confidence.
We
Mm-hmm.
they score a goal, oh, good shit, girl, like, oh, hey, these, like, I just feel like, as like
A
Latinos,
mutual.
we haven't always cheered our girls the same way that
I
we cheered our
feel
boys.
like old school parents did a lot of different things within males and females
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
that now we're trying to do, I guess, not the
Yeah.
opposite, but more like equality.
Equal, yeah.
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 But even that, you'll get pushback. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I coach girls soccer. I've
Okay.
coached girls soccer. I've looked at, even before having a daughter. Like, I would coach and stuff, and I just see videos and stuff. And you see even these co-ed teams where they have girls and they're good, and you see the guys like, nah, she shouldn't be on the field. Nah, rompela. Do this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, es una
That's more like
niña.
machismo thing,
Yeah, porque
Yeah.
dejas que te haga eso. Es una
Yeah.
niña.
Exactly.
Like, but it's like, bro, she's a girl. Yeah, she's doing all that. Like,
Like, damn,
fucking
you gotta
cheer
let
her
this girl
out.
treat you
Yeah,
like that.
how you gonna let this,
Mm-hmm.
como le vas a perder a una niña,
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, because she's good. Like, fucking cheer
Mm-hmm.
them up. Like, put them up, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, good shit, Like, you gotta be better too. Like, if you're telling your kid, then be better, do better,
Exactly.
put more in there.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, instead of bringing the boys down now, like, shit,
Build
make
their
sure they
confidence too.
build
Like,
them confidence
échale
too.
más ganas,
échale más ganas, practica más,
For sure.
but, like, and that's kind of what I'm trying to empower my daughter. Like, thinking,
If you
5,
could do it, you
10
could do
year,
it too,
yeah,
and
if
you
you
could
could,
probably do it better too.
yeah, kind of that Kobe,
Mm-hmm.
the Mamba mentality to his daughters. I mean, I kind of looked up to Kobe, how he trained his girls. Like, he's like, he loved being a girl dad, but
Mm-hmm.
he's like, yo, the sky's the limit. Y'all set the bar low.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, if society has the bar low for my girl, bet I'm gonna go break that shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of that's my mentality for being a girl dad. But now, expecting a boy, I also don't want to be like, you're a boy, like, because you're like, no, like, fucking both, and sky's the limit.
Definitely.
Like, fuck that.
Definitely.
And just support, man. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't,
support.
like, what does it have to be different now that it's a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
Just support them.
Support.
But I think, but it is like, even with my second grader, I'm already noticed, like, already noticing that the girls are mean, man. They're just mean.
They are.
They're mean. Like, they're
Mhm.
clicky. They're, and I'm not saying boys are now, but like, I think it was just like Luigi was saying, like, it's different kind of mean. Like, we would fight it out. Like, one day we're like physically, like, physically fight it out, and then the next
Knuckle
day
up.
we're like, boom, boom.
And then become
Girl-
best friends
yeah,
right after.
Girls hold grudges and they're like mean to each other for
Mm-hmm.
the whole year, and I think that's the
Bro, even
yeah.
even as adults,
Yeah.
I've seen.
grudge,
Or, yeah.
So I think like teaching, also like having those conversations with our with our girls and
Mhm.
pointing that out, like that, like doesn't have to be that way, like so I think that I don't know what it is that makes them so, like, we say the boys are competitive, but I think that
Females
also the
are
females are
more.
competitive too. Like, I don't know what they're fighting for,
It's a different type of
yeah.
There's a
competitive.
different type of alpha. Like, there's a
Yeah.
different type
Or
of
yeah.
like, hierarchy that they're trying
Like,
to.
you got to be
like,
my friend. You have to be my friend more than her friend. And if you're not,
Or like ultimatums, I guess. Give each other
yeah,
in a sense.
Like, they're
Yeah.
they're fighting over.
Or
who
hey,
they're playing with
we're
in
not
the
her
playground.
friend, but if you're playing with her, now you're like an
Yeah.
outsider too, because you chose the enemy over.
Type of
The
a mean girl
yeah,
in a
mean girl
sense.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like my I'm telling you, my daughter is in second grade, and she's like, oh, yeah.
You can't sit with us type of thing.
Yeah, my girl's in second grade. She's like, oh yeah, some of the girls are so mean. They don't let people sit with them and stuff like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, you're in second grade. You're also,
Yeah.
you're dealing with that.
Yeah.
Now some schools are anti-bully, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like sometimes even the teachers don't catch it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and some students won't say it.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah,
keep it to themselves.
Yeah.
because if it's like, what is bullying? Like, if it's just like, oh no, you can't sit here. Oh no, we're not gonna interact with you. Like at
Mhm.
the same time, it's like y'all making these clicks, but how is that?
Yeah.
Really like, other than like, oh, I'm like literally picking on you.
Mhm.
But just because you're excluding someone doesn't mean that's not mean as hell, or that's not affecting that one kid. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, I do fear that. I
Yeah.
do, like, that scares me.
Yeah.
But it's like I want to build kind of that like armor where, like, you know, regardless, like, you have that community around you,
Mhm.
where like you're confident, you're doing this, that hopefully you don't become a mean girl, because, but like you have what it takes to just be a leader, just be,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
be able to stand by yourself and just,
Like when I was growing up, I was bullied like almost leading up to I think third grade, and I told my parents, like whatever, and then my dad's like, "Oh, I'll sign you up to martial arts." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I started doing martial arts when I was 5, and they kept picking on me or whatever in school until one day my dad is like, "Oh, tell the teacher." So I
Mhm.
did, and then again, it happened and it
Yeah.
happened until like the third time I told my dad, and he's like, "You know what? Whoops ass."
Yeah.
So then I did, and after that, the teachers went against me. Like they
Yeah.
tried
yeah,
to blame it
Yeah.
all on me,
yeah,
and my dad defended me or whatever. And he's like, "No, he's been telling me this, certain amount of days." And I
yeah,
tell him to tell the teacher. They don't do nothing, then do
yeah,
something.
yeah,
And then after that, the bullying stopped.
Yeah.
You know, and then if it wasn't like physically, it was more like verbally.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
yeah,
Yeah.
like the jokes or
yeah,
whatever.
the
And
jokes,
then
yeah,
from there, I learned how to alburear. I learned how to
yeah,
talk shit back.
yeah,
And my comebacks were quicker.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And that's one thing that lead to me not like defending myself in a sense.
yeah, yeah,
Or
maybe
not
not
getting bullied or
physically, but
whatever. Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, with your wit, with your,
Yeah.
Comebacks. Yeah.
comeback.
That's something that I tell my like I happen to teach a couple of classes that are just Latinos, and
Mhm.
I tell them and I talk to them all the time about this. Like I don't know why we like nos pendejeamos so much like within
Mhm.
each other. Like we're always like beating each other up.
Yeah,
Like we get beat up in society so much, you
Mhm.
know. But then like we as in a daily basis, you're es un pendejo, you're this, you're that, you're that, and it's like
Mhm.
a daily thing, bro. It's like, and then you have to start questioning, and I tell them I'm like, you all think that really you are friends,
Mhm.
and the only way you all can talk is by
Insulting.
insulting
insulting each other.
Mhm.
I
yeah,
mean, how are you friends? Like
yeah,
truly, and I mean, and I say because I used to do the same thing too.
Mhm.
But I feel like the people that I remember that I still hang around with is the people that I actually had relationship with, like as far as like hanging out and stuff like that, and not
Mhm.
like that.
yeah,
Because the people that I would just like mess around like that, oh, okay, there's some pendejo or whatever. Like I don't talk to them anymore because like
yeah,
part of me like had some anger towards that
Mhm.
too. So
yeah,
like,
I-
um,
Like I've had not friends but like colleagues.
yeah,
Yo almost pesado,
yeah,
but I feel like mm, that only stayed like within work.
yeah,
Like talking shit just
yeah.
to get like the day
Big
by,
bye, yeah.
yeah,
and that's it. Because other than that, I actually
Mm.
didn't see myself hanging out with them
yeah,
like that.
Mhm.
Porque sí se pendejan bien feo,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
And the jokes are fucking insane.
yeah. And I feel like as guys, I mean, we can play pesado and kind of crack some jokes here and there,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, like, we want to build each other up,
No,
and I
definitely.
feel like, like,
But I don't
you
think we
know.
do though. Like I don't think we do enough. Like I
No,
just
not
don't.
no, 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 for sure. But then, no, like, I was gonna kind of go through what you mentioned. Your circle kind of goes smaller and smaller
Oh,
from, like,
definitely.
Yeah,
from middle school to high school to, like,
Hmm.
beyond, and, like, I mean, I still have the same, like, 4 friends, that are guys that were,
Hmm.
but it's like, you will build up with them, and that you can count on them, to kind of stick with you when,
Hmm.
then that's apart from family and stuff, but, like, the ride or dies, like, you're
Definitely.
talking
yeah,
about, your life, your family, your businesses, your
Hmm.
kind of your entrepreneurship, everything you want to grow in. But, like, yeah, everyone else that you knew that you fucked around with, I
Yeah,
mean, where are they now?
yeah,
Like,
true. That's true.
like, how are they? Like, if you're not helping me become a better person, then you're probably not in my life anymore.
Definitely.
And I think that's how it goes.
that weight, man. You
Yeah,
gotta clear that
Yeah.
weight because it's on the way. And then
yeah,
and I tell the kids, at school, I tell them like, there's something, I know you all want to play, but then like also too, like you never know where, like what they, like somebody's going through stuff,
Exactly.
and then you're still giving them shit and like, oh, you're just making fun of them. Haha, we're just playing. But
It's
like
gonna
you
get to
never,
the
yeah,
point.
you never know where they're at and like
Yeah.
inside, and then it's
Mm-hmm. Or
just
to a
like,
point where somebody will snap and then
mm-hmm,
you'll get
Yeah.
everything torn at you, and then be like, "Yo, what the hell? I'm just
yeah,
playing."
yeah,
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, when someone just snaps and
yeah,
comes at you with
Mm-hmm.
the
That's it, bro.
las prohibidas, and you're
Oh,
like,
for
yeah,
sure.
oh, what the fuck?
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
somebody. Yeah.
Sacan
that's
el
that.
anger, and yeah.
Yeah. Hay unos que son así. Que son. Yeah. Their song is like an explosive
Yeah,
anger or
anger.
whatever,
Yeah, you
like the
just hit the
movie
wrong
Anger
button.
Management or
Yeah,
whatever. You know,
Yeah, you hit the
there's
wrong
different
little
types
button,
of
and
being angry.
you know, and I've seen that, with friends. I mean, sometimes it passes, and then the friend reacts,
yeah,
and all of a sudden that's just
yeah.
a lot bigger than you wanted it to be, right? You
Definitely.
said the wrong thing, and I mean, I've been part of it, like where, I fuck around with my friends, and you go a little bit too far, and the
Mm-hmm.
person
And it
and
hurts.
it hurts them, and they blow up, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
shit,
Shit, my bad.
like
You
my
know.
bad, bro. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh, and
yeah,
then
No,
yeah,
no,
the
no,
other people
no.
hyping it up too,
yeah,
Yeah,
like
no.
just to stir the pot.
Yeah, no, and then the thing too, like years back too, like for me, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know,
You look back
like
on that
you look
shit.
back and you're like, man, I was
I
a
was a fucking
fucking asshole.
asshole. Yeah,
Like I was
Mm-hmm.
fucking asshole to this kid. I don't see him anymore, but
yeah.
he probably thinks that I'm a
I'm
fucking
a piece
asshole,
of
and I
shit.
was,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, fuck,
No, I mean,
man.
yeah, I mean, I think we've all had times when, like, yeah, you're being pieces of shit.
Like there's times where I've talked shit, and my girl will even tell me like, "Yo, like when you
Yeah.
talk shit, like te pasas," you know. Like, next question. What do you guys see yourself in 5 years?
You'll take this one first.
Me first.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years feels like a long time for me. You know, sometimes I try to think, what's in it for me this year. But no, I mean, I hope, you know, kind of my family growing, just kind of, growing with them. Professionally, we've been growing in a steady pace. I want to keep that up. I don't
Okay.
want to kind of stay complacent.
Mhm.
I think I've worked too hard to just kind of get happy where I'm at.
All right.
Keep growing, keep investing in different things, investing myself. It's easy to get comfortable.
That's true.
So I don't want to get comfortable for sure. I find myself sometimes getting comfortable and I have to knock myself up a little bit.
Definitely.
But yeah, just kind of keep growing, financially, investments, my family, and then growing as a dad. We talked about that a lot. So, trying to learn from other fellow dads, see what you guys are doing, see what you guys recommend. So, yeah, I mean, just kind of hopefully that, and plus, having, also better health. I think, investing
For
that
sure.
because sometimes COVID, those COVID-19 were real. That
They
shit was
were.
COVID-19, COVID-30. I don't even know, but just getting healthier because I want to be here for my kids. I want to be here. Oh yeah, I want to be here for them. As I get older, I want to be healthier for them. But
Definitely.
just kind of healthier there, healthier financially, and healthier in my investments in my business and everything that I've put in. Kind of growing these friendships too. So
Sure. For sure.
I think you got to put in into all of it. So that's what I want to see myself doing for the
Okay.
next 5 years, building, everything around me, everything around my people. So
Definitely.
that's where I see myself for 5 years.
Okay.
Man, crazy. 5 years. It doesn't seem like a lot to me. It seems like
That's
it's
far.
crazy. It seems like a lot to you, but it doesn't seem like much to me. I'm thinking about the fact that I'm gonna be. This is gonna be my 10th year, a 10th anniversary. Aniversario con with my wife.
Okay.
So like
Congrats.
10,
Congrats.
yeah,
Yeah,
10.
congrats.
5 years from now it'll be 15. And then my girl, my oldest, is gonna be 12.
Free teens. Free teens.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what I can think. Yeah, yeah. 15 and everything coming up. But yeah, so like I'm thinking, for me, it'll be like
she'll
making
want
sure
a
that
sweet
I'm. I
16.
mean, I mean, make sure that I'm in a good place
For
for.
sure.
Make sure that I'm in a good place, like mentally. I think that
Mhm.
sometimes my job drains me a little bit too much.
For sure.
Where like I have to be so patient with the kids at school. Then when I get home, like I don't have that patience
Mhm.
that much, and
Like
sometimes
that patience ran out.
yeah. So like I think I'm
Okay.
gonna really really work on, like, I know that you said 5 years, but really the day to day of like making sure that I'm the most patient for the people that matter the most to me.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying that I don't care about the kids at school, but like the kids that matter I mean the people that matter most to me are my girls at home, and sometimes they're the ones that I treat the worst because I don't
Okay.
have the patience. So I think that hopefully in those 5 years I can become better,
Improve.
improve
Okay.
myself, so that I can. I think that like the last thing that I want to say too is like I've been reading about like this book. Man, I forget the author, but it's like it's all about like love.
Okay.
It's all about love and making sure that in the next 5 years, every relationship that I establish with love is truly based in love. Because sometimes we say that we love, but we behave like we hate.
Okay.
And then so like if I love my girls, then I shouldn't be screaming at them because then do I really love them? If I love my partner, my wife, and I'm treating her like shit or not respecting her, then do I
Mm-hmm.
truly love her?
True.
You know what I'm saying? So like if I'm with my friends and I say that I love them and I take more than what I give or like really truly don't treat them with respect, then like
Okay.
again, once again, do you really love them? I think that word of love really means a lot to me, and I feel like I in the next 5 years I want to use it wisely.
Okay.
Like, do I love my mom, my mother? Well, then am I behaving towards her in a way that shows her that I love
Okay.
her? And if I'm not, then I feel like any relationship that I have with people that I love in the next 5 years, I think that I want to make sure that I'm holding up to this idea of love and what love really means to me,
Mm-hmm.
and then also like and be like more like we were saying earlier in the conversation, like make sure that I'm pointing to myself when like
Yes.
I'm questioning this, like oh um like my brother is not doing like no what am I doing
Yes.
what is me like me doing to show that
Taking
I
initiative
love
of whatever
yeah
you're doing. Yeah.
yeah
And I think and
well,
that's kind of like a hard thing because it's kind of easy. You want to like, especially like to strangers, you want to show
Mm-hmm.
the best of you,
yeah
but you
Yes.
kind of forget that too with your people that you
yeah
care about, right? Like
yeah
you're
you're
like,
right
Mm-hmm.
oh, shit, I can't, like even at work, you're like, oh, I gotta be calm, I gotta be
yeah
professional, I gotta be this, like
For
you're
sure.
already like subconsciously or even consciously thinking like, oh, I can't snap, I gotta be. But then when it comes to the people that matter the
yeah
most, you don't think that way, Sometimes you're just like
Definitely.
snapping, you're like, why aren't you
mm,
doing that, like.
Mm-hmm.
yeah
And it's like, yeah, you're right. I love these people. Why am I not taking that precaution that I am to a complete stranger
Yeah.
to the person that matters the
yeah the
most?
most yeah
So, yeah, that's
yeah
That's true.
that's true. No, and sometimes you forget that. Like, yeah, because when it comes to work, I'm super professional. I'll never
For
snap
sure.
out. You'll say this guy doesn't have any emotion. Like, he'll never, show any emotion,
But that's
whatever. But
us.
it's like you're actively
Mm-hmm.
trying not to. You want to be professional. You want to, take the high road. You want to do this, and then, but then you're right. It comes to my kid. She's done listening. You scream at her. You yell at her. Hey, calmate, don't.
Feel
How
like
many
we
times?
have to separate, you know, outside of work within work.
Yeah, and you kind of have to hold yourself same standards too,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
because yeah, I mean you might be tired, but it's like yo, yeah, who matters to me the most? If family matters, then like you said, you want to build those relationships with your kids and
yeah
with the people that matter. And if you're burning those bridges at home,
Mm-hmm.
how do you expect them to come home and say, hey, I need your help or I need you or you know I
Have
love
that.
you, and
yeah
Definitely.
so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's like the whole like I hit you because I love you, it's like
That's old
right,
terminology,
yeah, right
for
there,
Yeah.
like
us, us
that,
Latinos,
Yeah, it hurts me
Mexicans.
more than
Yeah.
it hurts you.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
and like and when there's hate, there's no love, and
Yeah.
they can't work the same way, so like
Mm-hmm.
really questioning those thoughts of like
Yeah.
like I'm yelling at you and I'm like
Yeah.
talking to you like this because I
Because I care
love
about
you, and
you,
I'm
yeah.
like there's other
Diciendo, ya
ways.
no memes, güey. Ya no
Yeah,
memes, ya.
yeah,
Vale.
Yeah, you love me too much.
Yeah.
Chill. Yeah.
yeah,
Si
no,
así
but
memas, imagínate cuando me odias,
yeah,
Type of shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, well that's what I'm thinking for the future, man. That's where I'm
That's
at.
good.
No, that's good.
That's
I mean,
good.
there's healthy things to
It
do too,
is.
because working on because that's half of like working on yourself too, and yeah, it's hard to like you said, point your flaws. I mean, I think we all have flaws. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we don't see them, until
Yeah.
you kind of take a step
Other
back and you're
people
like,
will see it,
oh
but not
yeah,
us.
Well, and also
yeah,
too, like when you were saying too, like like this whole idea of like love. People think about like love as like oh, I love them, but like if they don't love me back, then I'm not gonna do it anymore. Then, but like that's not love. You love to love.
Yeah.
Like you
Shouldn't
don't
have a
do it with
condition.
like no
Yeah.
condition. Like you love to love, and then if they don't love you back, that's fine.
It's like
Yeah.
an
And nothing you
unconditional
can
love.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't do nothing
Yeah,
about that.
like you choose to love, and I always say that like I don't believe in this Disney world like oh like oh I fell in love like no you
Mhm.
choose to love, which is even stronger because if you choose to love someone, you're deciding
And it
yourself that
takes
you
Comes from
want
the
to
effort.
heart.
love.
It
Yeah,
comes
And it
from
takes
within.
effort.
yeah,
You
Hmm
know.
yeah. Not like oh I
It's
fell
not
in love with
easy.
this person.
Yeah.
It's like oh me pega, but I'm here because I love. No, like
Mm-mm.
you
You're
choose.
choosing.
You're
Yeah.
choosing to, and I'm not saying nothing about against because what's it called like home
Like domestic violence. Yeah.
yeah, domestic violence is a whole different like
Definitely.
but I'm just saying like when we say something like that like oh like he doesn't treat me right, especially when you first start dating like oh he doesn't treat me right or she doesn't treat me right, but like but I love you more or like I love her so much, but it's like dude like those are
Yeah.
red flags right there, like like
It's the butterflies talking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or that's just sometimes you're like, oh, it's because we have so much time invested.
Hmm.
We've been through so much. And it's like, bro,
she's changing.
yeah, I can change her. I can
That's
save
I'm gonna
her.
that's a
fix
whole
her.
different
I can
topic now.
fix her.
My bad.
I can fix her. Yeah.
It's all good, man.
It's not good.
But no, I think yeah. I think these 5 year plans, like to me, it does feel like a long time from now, just
Mhm.
because I do reflect kind of year to year. Like I want
Yes, sir.
I think especially like a 1 year feels like a long time for me. And like it feels like I can do a lot. And sometimes you get to that and you're like, oh shit, it's already October, it's already
Hmm.
November, like it's almost
Mm.
done. But you feel like you can grow a lot.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that you don't usually, but like I kind of try to keep my pace more now because 5 years does feel like a long time from now for
Okay.
me. But yeah, I think a lot of growth to come, and that's kind of what I want to wish for myself and everyone around me. Everyone
Hmm.
in my circle. You
Yeah.
guys on the table, like just continued growth. Like don't get complacent.
Okay.
Keep wanting better shit for everyone, and I feel like that's kind of the type of people I want to keep around me,
Yes.
right? People that we want to keep growing and not, I
Hmm.
want to see Joe's Chop Shop and barbecue chicken, Joe's Chop Shop and everything,
Yes,
like
sir.
I want tattoos and piercing, everything, I want
Hmm.
that shit to keep
That one stop
growing,
shop. Hmm.
that one stop shop growing, you growing, my brother growing, my
For
other
sure.
brother,
For
like,
sure.
my best friends growing, like business, with the family, with, everything around them, investments. So like that's kind of that is my goal,
Hmm.
and it's like if I can help you anywhere, if I know that I can reach out to you to help me, and it's
For
kind of
sure.
that like,
Definitely.
you know, I think it's an African proverb. It's like if you want to go fast, go
Hmm.
alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
Definitely.
like, bro, that's what I've been building. Kind of a
For
network of
sure.
like A1s of people that have
The same
good
hunger.
head,
Hmm.
same hunger. Have it's not easy. It doesn't come easy. I've seen a lot of people. I've met a lot of friends that shit comes easy, and they're making bank, whatever, but they make it seem like it's so easy, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's
Shit
not.
fucking
No.
takes work.
We don't
Everything
see the
takes work.
struggle that
Yeah,
they
you
go
don't see
through
the
or the
struggle.
sacrifices that people do
Exactly,
to
and
get
then
what they
sometimes you
are.
make it, and sometimes you hit some good milestones, and be like, they're handing it out to that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's how
Hmm.
you making that money, man. You had all the help in the world. No, yeah, I think just having that preparation and kind of building that basis to get there. And like you said, like we were saying, it's just nothing's handed to us. So
It's not.
no, just kind of continuing that hunger, like you mentioned, just kind of being hungry still. Even though I think we're all successful in this table, but
Hmm.
it's like not being complacent in that and just wanting to keep growing.
For sure. There's
Um,
always room for
yeah, there's always
improvement and
room for
always room
growth,
for growth.
and the world keeps changing,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
For me, something too, like that, like you mentioned, and I kind of want to talk about it too, is like this idea of like if you are growing, like, and somebody like is trying to ask for help, like not like you're gonna, like pay their bills, but like
Hmm.
if somebody's asking for an advice, like give it,
Yeah,
give it,
Hmm.
like
and no gatekeeping.
just because he grow, yeah,
Definitely.
just because he grows too doesn't mean that he's
Yeah,
gonna
Oh,
pull you down.
definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So it's like you never know. So like I feel like I also like to stay around with people that like feel the same way, and that way we're
Definitely.
like que no van a decir, ah, no, I'm not gonna tell him porque he's gonna take my
Yeah.
job, or he's gonna take this, or he's gonna.
And that's the
Or,
mentality
yeah.
that also back in the day, old
Yeah,
school,
they
like
have, yeah.
when
I'm
you're
a
starting to
gatekeep,
work or
yeah.
whatever, and they're like, oh, well, he's younger and whatever. Like, no, let me not teach him everything so I can keep this job too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think
Like, yeah, they
that's
would gatekeep because they're
hmm
trying to say, no, this is my highlight, or I don't want to see you do better than me either, too.
exactly.
So like that, also that
And
toxic mentality. But it's like,
and I feel like everybody's like, well, not everybody, but the majority of the parties like that. They want to see everybody grow, but they don't want people to be better than the
yeah,
other.
grow better than
hmm
quicker, yeah, and that's and I think that's also part of having a good team around you too, because it's
Definitely.
like to me, like as I see my friends grow, like I'm a cheerleader, like I'm happy for you, like
Mhm.
I'm never gonna you tell me your win, like that's fucking amazing. Like I don't care if whatever. Like we're different. Like I don't need to compare myself to you,
Mhm.
right? Like we're in different planes. We're in different sides. Like I don't need. But if you're winning, like I'm winning, because hey, I'm part of
Mhm.
your crew. So like, yeah, one
Definitely.
day you're gonna bring me with you. You know what I'm saying? You're on the
For
big ass
sure.
stage. I'm gonna be there and I'm gonna be experiencing that shit too. So
But
like,
and
Mhm.
even if they
reciprocally.
don't,
No, yeah,
bring,
even if
like,
they
good
don't,
for you. Like, I'm happy
yeah.
that you're there, and I'm
I've
happy.
I've caught myself celebrating more for others than for myself.
Yeah. And it's it's
Mhm.
sometimes easier, right? Like once
Mhm.
you're kind of there, like it's hard to celebrate yourself sometimes.
Mhm.
You almost feel like, nah, I'm not there yet. Like you kind of like
Mhm.
you're your worst critic at times, and you're
Exactly.
like, nah, I haven't done it. But then people celebrate you, and you're like, oh shit.
Mhm.
But then that's why it's easier to celebrate other people too,
Exactly.
and having that good, that good energy to kind of bringing that out and say, yo, you guys, what you're doing is fucking amazing. Oh, you did this, damn, it's
Definitely.
fucking wild, and kind of having that, but that's also part of growth,
And I
Exactly.
think it's a full circle of like that's the difference between like a circle that like of people that like make fun of you all the time and they get the pendejean,
Yeah.
and then a whole different crew that is like, hey, you did this,
Mhm.
Mhm.
or hey, you need something,
Yeah.
whatever, like, I'm there, or like, just
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's a whole different, like, it took me a long time to get to a point where like I didn't need to make fun of my friends to be friends with them, instead
Yeah.
of like,
Mhm.
hey, like, what,
Supporting
yeah,
and
exactly, like that switch.
No, and I think that too. Like even in high school, I remember, like, oh, you're doing your homework or fucking
Yeah.
your bookworm,
Mhm.
and kind of like kind of be smart. And like, I didn't even
Exactly.
want to share with my friends my test scores because I had got an A or a
Yeah.
B,
Mhm.
and I know those motherfuckers failed, and like, oh, they're gonna make fun of me for doing good, and
Yeah.
it's like that was in high school, and but then like, you start hanging out with different people, and they're
Exactly.
like, oh, you got, oh, that's dope,
Yeah.
damn, yo, we gotta study together,
Yeah.
oh, we,
Mhm.
and you kind of get that different like
Yeah.
side of the coin. Like one side's pushing you on to do better, or
Yeah.
hey, let
No
me,
one's pulling
let
you
me
back.
study. Like, how
Mhm.
did you study? What, how did you learn? Because I need to get there,
Yeah.
And so you see that, and it's like you start gravitating to that too, because you're like, yeah, these people, or hey, you're doing really good. Let me copy. Like, let me
That
work
feels
with
better.
you. It feels better. It feels
Mhm.
more than someone. You got an A. I don't even give a shit about that, bro. No,
Mhm.
you tried.
Mhm.
But I just put A on all my whole fucking Scantron. You're a fucking loser for that,
Abacadabra, you know.
Yeah, A B C D A B C D A B C D.
Well, it's funny because I mean I feel like to this day, like, there's like people that I still like, not close, but like I still talk to from high school, and then like they're like, oh, tú ni trabajas, you don't even work, you don't even like put any
Yeah.
effort because I'm doing like white collar work, but it's
Yeah.
like it's fucking tiring too,
Yeah.
bro. Like you're
Mhm.
fucking mentally like, no, you gotta, if you're not roofing or you're not doing construction, you're not really working. Are
Is
you
that?
even?
Mhm.
And like they start questioning my, am I even Mexican enough? I'm
Yeah.
like, motherfucker, tú ni hablas español, and then you're talking to me like I'm not
Yeah.
Mexican enough.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
was born there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
but you know
Back
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
back at it again. Like they don't want to
Yeah.
see you
They didn't want
progressing
to see you
better
progress. Like they
than
almost
someone else.
want to
Yeah.
put you down a little bit more to,
Mhm.
and it's like, bro, come on.
But then
Yeah.
also I think that there's also like I don't know if you were saying gatekeeping, but I don't know if it's like limitations that we put for each other. Like, oh, because we're Mexican, we should never be doing those type of jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then like, and if you're doing that type of job, like, nah,
You're like
there's,
you're a sellout or something,
yeah,
or
Got it. Got it.
you're
Got
too
it.
and it's like
whitewashed.
we don't
Mhm.
see ourselves in the Latinx community in those
roles.
jobs.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, as like Latinos now,
Yeah.
Mexicans or whatever, we have to flip the script now.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
have to show
Fuck
them
it.
that you can become this, you
Yeah.
can do this,
That you belong there.
Exactly.
And it's hard because I mean, shit. Even me going to school, like I was the one of the handful of Hispanics in a room of 200 people in a lecture. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's hard. Sometimes you're like you don't feel like you have an identity here. You know, you can't relate to anyone. How do I start talking to someone? You know, but I mean, that's where I think little by little we do have to change that stereotype of like, oh, you're in STEM, oh, you're in math, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing shit for yourself. Like, you shouldn't be here. Why aren't you taking these other classes? You know,
Some
or
different
yeah,
that
something
people
that's
don't
more
out of their comfort zone.
stereotypical. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or why are you in school? Like, you could be making more money doing, you know. It's like, bro, let them be like whatever they want to
Exactly.
do. You know, even if it's a trait, whatever. Like,
Oh,
they
hell yeah.
belong wherever they belong. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
stop trying to like tell them they don't belong there. Like
Yeah.
you're holding your own people back for what? Like
True.
why are you holding anyone back? But I think as
I think
people
that should be
we
the slogan, bro.
yeah.
Wherever they want to belong, they belong. Like
Yeah,
if wherever you
whatever.
want to be,
Yeah,
that's
wherever you
you.
want to
That's
be,
your.
you belong. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where we want to. I think as a mentor, I think as people that we want to grow ourselves, but we also want other people to grow around us. Like wherever you want to be, you belong, and I'll make sure that if I'm there with you, I'll make you feel like you belong.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I think we
Well,
should wrap this up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Cheers.
No, thanks for.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks you for having
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.